Welcome back. Episode 35 of the Spot Sports Podcast. Giros, Barrett, Huntmako. We're back. We're in the studio, aka our houses. I don't know what's going on with Giros's camera right now, but I really hope
Maybe.
this. I don't know. I really hope it pulls up on the recording because it's going to be a little funny. But and never mind, it fixed itself. Anyway, we got a lot to cover, and we also have a national championship to watch here in about an hour. So we might speed through this episode just a bit. But let's go ahead and get to our winners and losers of the week. I can go first. My winner, I forgot. Oh, my winner is the people of the United States of America. My weekend lock was that TikTok would be back, and I was right. TikTok came back less than, I think, 12 hours later. Didn't doom scroll for one night, kind of felt healthy. I'm just joking. I missed it so much. I hit the app 80 times and got that stupid pop-up message, but it came back, and we're good. My loser is the city of Detroit, aka the Lions. Lose in the first round, kind of get upset, I would say. And you also lose your offensive coordinator to Chicago. We're going to cover both those things here in a minute. Giros.
Yeah, Hunter, I do miss seeing your relationship reposts on TikTok, so happy I get those
We
back.
posted reposted three of them today, buddy.
Yeah, I know.
Go
I
ahead and get
saw.
them ready.
Uh, my winner of the week is the Vanderbilt basketball teams. Both beat ranked Tennessee opponents at home today, boys and girls. So good for them. As a Tennessee fan, it sucks, but good for Vanderbilt. My loser is going to be probably one of the main storylines of the week. Mark Andrews' drop and his bad game. Also had a fumble. It's been a rough year for him. We'll talk about the game later, but didn't have the year he wanted to have. Isaiah likely coming along. Looks like it could be near the end of his career. So I feel bad for Mark Andrews.
All right, mine completely other sport related.
Oh,
We're
it is.
taking it to the diamond for both of mine. First off, my winner of the week is not going to be a particular team, kind of a particular player, but I'm going to go with the nation of South Sudan. This week, my Los Angeles Dodgers, they signed they signed a pitcher. Many of y'all might think it's Tanner Scott, but no, I don't even know the kid's name, but he was the first ever player from South Sudan to be signed to a contract. So congratulations to him. He's 6'5". He's younger than me. He's younger than all of us, I think, actually. Yeah. So there you go. He's 17. We'll see how it turns out. Maybe he can springboard for other people in his nation to get to the big leagues. And then my loser is going to be the Toronto Blue Jays. Uh, Earlier this week, I know we already covered it in an earlier episode, but Roki Sasaki signed with the Dodgers. A lot of Dodgers signings this week, but the Blue Jays, just a couple hours right before Sasaki signed his contract, made a trade with the Cleveland Guardians to acquire outfielder Miles Straw, I believe. Yeah. And basically, it's whatever, but it gave them more international signing pool money. So Blue Jays kind of thought they had Roki in the bag, had to strip away some assets just for nothing. So yeah, that's my loser. But they signed Santander, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
There you go. That's that was the past week. Some good winners and losers in there, honestly. But let's go to what's kind of dominating the headlines, which is the NFL playoffs. Second round games happen. The Eagles will face the Commanders, and the Chiefs will face the Bills. Let's cover the AFC because I feel like the NFC has more of the interesting storyline. We'll get to them, but the Chiefs really dominated the Texans in their win. Watched a little bit of it, and then I realized that the Texans really don't have a very good shot at winning this. A lot of the calls in the game were quite questionable. I also think the Texans' offensive line being hurt and then having to face the Chiefs' defensive line wasn't a very good matchup. CJ Stroud was also hurt. Overall, sophomore slump type year for Stroud, but I feel like you kind of need that in his career, and the Texans look to be in a pretty good place for the next year. Giros, your kind of thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I know that the calls have been questionable for the Chiefs this year, but it's been happening all year. I understand why people are still getting mad, but I'm kind of just over that now. I think that it's the same recipe for the Chiefs. I think you get a little bit above 20. They had 23 this game. You know that their defense is just so good that they can just shut teams down. So I think that, until Patrick Mahomes has to go out there and, throw for 300, 3 touchdowns, I think that the Chiefs can just ride this method of playing all the way to the Super Bowl.
Barrett?
Uh, if I'm a Texans fan, I'm feeling all right about the current future of our franchise. We made it to the divisional round, pretty exciting. Go up against the Chiefs and the refs. So I mean, they did all they could. I'm feeling pretty good about the Texans, but yeah, Chiefs look dominant per usual. I don't think anyone's going to beat them, quite honestly.
We'll see this weekend when the Bills head to Arrowhead. The Bills defeated the Ravens 27-25. Snowy game, cold game. We saw it affect some players like Mark Andrew. The game was good. I enjoyed it. We saw the MVP candidates face off against each other. Josh Allen looked good. Lamar Jackson had some turnovers, but I mean the team as a whole had some turnovers, but they did lose on a 2-point conversion. It got interesting there. I think Buffalo's defense, they kind of changed it to be really aggressive. And I think that helped them and hurt them in both ways there. The Ravens struggled in the first half, but the Bills were able to cover in the second half and make it interesting. Jiros, your kind of thoughts on Mark Andrews dropping the 2-point conversion, had the fumble, like you said, he was your loser. So let's hear your kind of thoughts there.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I just feel bad for him. A lot of people said that Lamar Jackson, like, if they lost, that everybody's going to blame it on him. I think you can put a little bit of blame, but you can't put the majority on it. This game to me just came down to turnovers on Lamar's pick and Mark Andrews' fumble. Buffalo had scored 10 points off those two possessions, and so judging, I mean, this game just came down to turnovers overall. Josh Allen, he played mistake free. I think that's the biggest thing. He didn't have a great game overall. He only threw for 127 yards, but. Very similar to the Chiefs almost, where it's like just don't turn it over and let your defense work, and that's what the Bills did for this game. So kudos to them this game plan and what they did to win against the Ravens.
Barry, your kind of thoughts of what the Bills kind of have to do to go into Arrowhead, possibly get a win. They've been here before, they've lost.
Mhm.
Is this the one?
I mean, it very well could be. I think Josh Allen's playing his best football right now. This team going in the year lost some receiving threats, kind of quickly replace him. I like the look of this Bills team, but they're going to have to take care of the ball, like Grant's been saying. Like I think that's just goes for any football team. But you got to take care of the ball, especially in Arrowhead. It's going to be loud. It's going to be cold. Not that that really matters for the Bills, but yeah, it's going to be. You have to protect the ball. You're gonna have to get some stops and maybe one or two lucky calls in there. I think that'll propel him, give him a good chance to stay in this game.
Hunter, I have a question for you.
Yep.
Do you think Lamar Jackson will win a Super Bowl in his career?
I think eventually he has to, but he better start winning some playoff games now. 0-3, right? 0-3 in
Yes.
his playoff career. It wasn't that he just didn't have the weapon. I mean, they made it a close game. The turnovers killed him. It feels like he just kind of gets the short end of the stick sometimes. In reality, I mean, the AFC is loaded. You sometimes don't get the best draw in it. I mean, it happened to them last year as well. They didn't get a very good draw in the first. Or who did they play last year? Was it Buffalo again?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was
I'm
at
pretty sure.
Buffalo. I think it
No,
was
it's
at
Chiefs.
they played the Chiefs. You haven't got a clear shot at the title yet, and I think if that window were to open up, he's in his championship window. I think that you have to start. You really have to say, all right, let's get Lamar some weapons. Let's do kind of what the Chiefs have done, and let's just throw money to guys that they might be good, they might not be bad, or they might be bad. So I think that's kind of what you have to do with the Ravens right now. Disappointing, I would say. Lamar was very pissed after the fact. So in his interview, had a had some explicit. I don't know what the word. I don't know what the word is.
Explicit.
There you go. That's what I was trying to say and wasn't coming out. Had a couple of those words in there, but there you go. Let's go over to the NFC though. and we're gonna cover Lions Commanders. Not right now. We'll let Barrett build up his opening statement. But let's talk about the Eagles and Rams. Rams came out, talked a lot of crap. Absolutely miserable conditions in Philadelphia, I would say. I would hate to play in that. The Rams did make it interesting. Eagles kind of got away with it towards the end. Saquon Barkley just kind of proves why I think he will win Offensive Player of the Year and honestly should be an MVP candidate, just because he absolutely dominated the Rams defense. The Rams defense showed up, but it wasn't enough. Giros, kind of the thoughts on the Eagles?
Yeah, I mean they're just the more talented team and they're younger. I think is the biggest thing here. Jalen Hurts he only threw for 130 yards again. I think that's a big storyline going into the next game against Commanders with Jane Daniels playing lights out. Maybe I mean he's looked like the best quarterback so far in the playoffs, so I think that'll be interesting to see. On the Rams side, it's a tough loss for them. Everything. I'm excited to see what they do in the offseason with Stafford getting old, with Cooper Cup getting old. Feels like their window, if it wasn't already closed, it just closed. So I'm very interested to see what Sean McVay does with the Rams next year.
Barrett, anything?
I don't know. I
Or
mean,
or do you just want to get
Saquon looked pretty good. Like I said, I called him the best running back in the league earlier in the week. I don't really remember what day it was, but yeah, I mean, he looked pretty legit. So you're gonna be able to stop that next week if you want a chance beating the Eagles.
there you go. Let's get to it, Barrett. Go ahead. Just let us have it.
All right.
Let us hear about your
Yeah.
hell to the Redskins or Commanders now.
So, yeah, I mean, first of all, absolute what a game. I mean, on both sides of the ball, I think it was just pretty much utter domination from the Commanders. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, Jared Goff throws three interceptions. Jamison Williams throws an interception. They have a fumble. So Commanders won the turnover battle 5-0, like which Grant said earlier in the podcast. That'll do it to you. So I think the defense was the biggest surprise to me, is showing the ability that they could not only stop the Lions and kind of hold them off, but I mean, they pretty much shut them down, especially in that second half. So offensively, honestly, kind of what I expected. JD's been balling recently. He's been hitting McLaurin. De'Ami Brown has really stepped up recently as well. I thought the run game was pretty what it needed to be. Some explosive strikes from Eckler, Robinson, and number 26. Can't remember his name, but yeah, looking pretty good there. So I'm excited for this game. I think it's going to be a good one. I like our chances again. I'm just going to say it here. We've been on the underdog all the playoffs, so why not us?
Why not the Commanders? Yeah, defense showed up in a big way. A lot of people said I said it kind of last year when I did a free agency review. I said the Commanders probably did have the best free agency out of all the teams. I did say that it'd be a veteran-filled defense, which it is, and that just goes to prove that this team has experience. And you really the only position that you don't have experience in is the quarterback position. And I mean, not gonna lie, Jane Daniels kind of looked like an MVP against the Lions, future MVP. Gonna go ahead and say it. Ben Johnson, don't really know what he was dialing up in this game. He had a couple good calls, interesting calls. The Jameson Williams
The
pass was
pass, yeah.
the pass was rough. He also had a very interesting touchdown celebration. If you know, you know. Got a little freaky in the end zone. But Giras, your kind of thoughts on what the Lions need to do now? We're going to talk about their head. We're going to talk about the coaching, but go ahead and talk about them as a team as a whole.
I mean, I don't see a reason why he can't run it back for next year, especially with all the young talent. Jared Goff, it is a questionable situation with him. Is he able to lead you Super Bowl? But I don't see why you wouldn't run it back. I mean, I don't know what you would even do with him right now, even if you didn't want to bring him back. Did he get extended last offseason?
Yes.
You did? Okay, yeah. So like you really can't do anything there, but they have the talent. They have Montgomery, they have Gibbs, they have St. Brown, and you also have a young tight end Laporta and a speed threat in Jamison Williams. That's really what you need at this point. Their O-line's good. Especially with their defense side. They had like 14 players on the IL, including Aiden Hutchison and a couple other D linemen. So I think you run I mean, I don't see why you shouldn't. This is still one of the most talented teams in the league, and if it wasn't for all those people on the injury list, they may have beat the Commanders, and maybe we were having a different conversation. So, yeah, I don't see a reason why you can't run it back next year with this team.
Yeah, injuries kind of killed this team. But now let's go ahead and talk about their offense coordinator because he's gone to Chicago. It looks like both of the Lions coordinators are going to be gone. Aaron Glenn, I think, possibly might take the Saints job. I think that's kind of where sites are, what people are saying.
I want Cliff
Uh, all right.
Kingsbury. I want him for Barrett.
All right. All right. But let's go ahead and talk about Ben Johnson, who's kind of the hot name on the block. Really good offensive mind. Interested to see how he does with Chicago because you kind of have an interesting team. You don't have an offensive line. You have a pretty good draft pick. You have a quarterback that's talented. It's just, how are you going to use that? I think you will. And you also have a receiving core. So I think Chicago really, you have a pretty good roster besides the offensive line and some defensive holes. You have a good roster going into it. You also have money. You got a lot of money there in Chicago. So I think as a job, I'm trying to think of the pieces are there. All right, the pieces are there for you to be very successful from day one, and I think that's what he will do. I really like this hire. I kind of thought that this is where he was going to go the entire time. G-Rest, your kind of ideas on Ben
Yeah, I
Johnson in
think
Chicago?
there's two things to watch here. One is who he picks at defensive coordinator. I think offensive head coaches have problems finding a defense coordinator at times, especially since they don't know as much. So I'm very interested to see who he picks at defense coordinator. And the other thing is, what Ben Johnson loves to run the ball. You've seen that this whole year. You know that you don't have two. I wouldn't say you have two elite running backs there right now. You have Khalil Herbert and DeAndre Swift, maybe Roshan Johnson in there. So I'm interested to see if they go out and try to get maybe a more established running backs like they did with Detroit, where they had Jameer Gibbs and Dave Montgomery, that 1-2 punch. So I'm very excited to see what he does there. I'm excited to see what he can do with Caleb Williams and DJ Moore, refine that connection, and maybe he can convince Keenan Allen to come back another year and maybe develop Roma Dunze. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm excited to see what Ben Johnson does in Chicago.
Yeah, I think Keenan Allen has already re-signed before this, but I think Dennis Allen is going to be the defensive coordinator there as well in
They're screwed.
Chicago. All right.
They're screwed.
I also saw a lot of people saying that Romeo and Dunze is going to have a couple passing touchdowns. Barrett, your kind of thoughts on what Ben Johnson brings to Chicago and how exciting this could be?
I love this hire. Last year I wanted him personally to be the Commanders head coach. Obviously, we went in a different direction, whatever. But I think he's a very good offensive mind, like y'all have already tapped about. He's got some pretty good pieces there. Caleb Williams, if he can get to the level that people expect him to get to, pretty scary there. Obviously, I think the receivers are there, so that's not the question. I mean, the running game, not terrible, not great, just eh. I think the big key is going to be on the defensive side of the ball, like Grant said. Are they going to be able to give their offense the ability, I mean, not to make mistakes, but it's not going to be smooth sailing all the way through. There's going to be some ups and downs throughout the seasons. So, and defense can travel to any game. So I think if you have a good defense, kind of build your foundation on that and then let the offense, kind of get to their potential. I think Chicago here in a couple of years could have themselves a pretty solid ball club.
Caleb Williams also was with Ash Shinjinti throughout the day today, so posted on his story. So that would be a fun experience up there in Chicago. A lot of good things brewing if you're a Bears fan right now. If you're a Falcons fan,
Grant
you
Trevelyan.
you hate
Grant
life.
Trevelyan's hype.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
Or
whoa.
were Williams and Genty talking about football, or were they,
It
you
looked
know?
like they were shopping, but I don't really know.
Okay.
But let's go to the college level. Me and GRS already made our picks for this game. We talked about it just before this, actually, about 20 minutes ago. But Barrett, let's hear your thoughts on the national championship because me and GRS, the video's out. Check it out if you want our insights on it. But Barrett, let's hear yours.
Yeah. Okay. So I think this is going to be a good game. I know recently the Natties haven't been the best of games, but I expect this. I expect this to be a pretty good game. Ohio State, they got the star power, Jeremiah Smith, and then on Notre Dame side, Riley Leonard kind of leads the show there. But I was listening to the radio this afternoon, coming home from eating lunch with my father, and they were
Oh, wow.
obviously breaking down the game, and they were saying that. Ohio State and Ryan Day is kind of going to be the difference in this game. Traditionally, this Day has kind of been almost, some it's like when someone says you can't do something, and so you want to prove to them that they can. So, like, obviously Notre Dame, I think it's pretty obvious that they're the more physical team up front. They've got the better run game, in my opinion. Well, maybe I don't know. I think they're a more physical football team, and that's kind of one of their strengths. And so traditionally, Ryan Day has tried to kind of match that physicality and run the ball a lot, which is not what they need to do. They need to obviously let right, Will Howard throw the ball out to his targets, let them go make plays in space, which they need to do. And Notre Dame plays a lot of man coverage, so that's something to watch about tonight. Do those Ohio State receivers, do they beat it, or does Notre Dame kind of make the adjustments with Marcus Freeman, great defensive mind as well? So I'm looking forward to it. I got Ohio State coming out on top. I think Jeremiah Smith's gonna have another field day again, even though Notre Dame has been pretty good in pass coverage.
There you go. That's the national championship. Me and GRS, we're national championship out. We just had a talk with James Chapman about college football national championship, which is always an experience to talk football with James. Check out Ball Knowers. But Barry, your Dodgers have done it again. They signed Tanner Scott. Hate to see it out of there, but how much? I think 72 million, right? 4 years. Sounds about
Somewhere
right.
around that, yeah.
Somewhere around there. Listen, I think the Dodgers. I hate them. I do. I just honestly hate them. Giros, your kind of thoughts on? I don't even want
Yeah,
to say it.
Tanner Scott was probably the most highly touted reliever left on the board. So I
Yep.
mean, why is it? Yeah, so you might as well like why not go there at this point? All I gotta say is Hunter, when the Dodgers lose one of the next 5 years, even it's just gonna feel great.
It's
If
gonna
they
be
if they,
awesome.
yeah, just the one time they lose, they could win four straight, but that fit when they lose, it's gonna be great. I mean, there's not a ton to say here. They're the best team on baseball. You could probably make an argument if they have a good year, they might be the best team ever if they win a ring. So. I mean, there's really not much to say here, I guess.
Yep. Is there enough to go around, Barrett?
Oh yeah.
No. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Tell them to send me some money.
Yeah. Hey, sign us. Hey,
Yeah.
we'll do
I mean,
something.
its job is just like write how much you want, I'll give it to you.
Yeah. Apparently, that's how it
We'll
is.
just
But
Write
we'll
on a
just defer your
napkin.
money a couple years
yeah.
and we'll be all right.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Blue Jays. Missed out on Roki, like Barrett said. Blue Jays always seem to miss out on a free agent every single year. They're always in contention for one and never sign one. Really sad. But they do land Anthony Santander. Sorry, that way
There you
G
go.
Russ
Santander.
There we go.
that way G Russ doesn't kill me. Santander. 5 years, $90 million for the former O. I like to get Blue Jays need an outfielder. You get one to pair up with Springer up there. So you kind of have some. You got some options there, GS. Your kind of thoughts.
Yeah. I think that I don't really know how I feel about this because I mean, he had a 3 WAR last year, 235 batting average, but he had 45 home runs. So I think it's an interesting spot there. He's almost like a Ozuna if you want to make the Braves comparison there, because you have Vlad who's hoping to bounce back, have another MVP season like he did, I think 2021. So it's interesting to me. I don't know why the Blue Jays are trying to buy so much right now. I don't know because there's been rumors with them maybe trading Vlad, maybe Bo Bichette. Braves contacted about him a few weeks ago, so it's just a weird spot for the Blue Jays, I think, right now with the AL East being so good.
Barrett, your kind of thoughts?
I like it. I'm a big Santander guy. He hits bombs, switch hitter as well, which is something that you're not seeing a whole time throughout the league. So I think obviously a big flaw in his game is his defense, and you could put him at DH, but I'm not really sure who their DH is right now. So I don't know. We'll see where he fits. You can't put him at first. You got Vladdy there. So overall, I like the signing. I think he's a very good baseball player. He's going to bring some power, some excitement to the lineup. So yeah, I think it was pretty good signing for the Blue Jays. We'll see how their defense holds up though.
There you go. That is the episode. We're gonna go watch. We're gonna go watch some football. We got 40 minutes. It's exciting stuff. Juris is gonna go eat dinner. Jesus loves you. Peace out. A lot of stuff to watch tonight.
Are you gonna eat dinner, Hunter?
I already ate dinner. I'm actually fasting, so cannot eat
Yeah.
dinner at this moment.
That's why I asked. Making sure.
Only water. Already
making
ate
sure.
dinner. Had some green beans, some fried sausage from BJ's.
How much weight you've lost? How much weight have you lost?
I don't keep track of weight. I just, look good, feel
Why
good.
you fasted then?
That's my mentality. I'm just a look good, feel good type of guy. If I look in
So
the
you
mirror,
gained weight.
no, I haven't gained weight. I mean, I'm keeping up with it. I keep a steady rate, all right. And then as we get into the summer months, as it warms up a bit outside, that weight's going to start dipping a little bit. But I kind of go into
have you considered
You need to
aerobic
work out.
training?
What?
Have you considered some aerobic training exercises?
Like
just start working out.
Like running and stuff like that? I still lift. I haven't ran yet
Okay.
because it's cold and I
Do some
I
sit-ups.
don't have a treadmill. I do
or
sit-ups,
something.
Juris.
Oh, you do? Really?
Yes, I do a lot of core work. Jeez Louise.
Oh, you wouldn't know that if you just looked at you.
Hey, look. All right. Hey, listen. Look good, feel good. Have a great Monday. Shout out MLK, GOAT. There you go. Jesus loves you. Peace out. We'll see you Wednesday. And also, if there's no clips, it's because CapCut is still down. So trust me, I would make a South Sudan clip for Barrett. So there you go. Peace out. See you later. Jesus loves you. Bye. Bye. Bye.